Hello everyone, it's 11. You ready? Today we are going to talk about finish up the slug flow and then talk about the vertical flow pattern. Okay, the transition for the vertical flow pattern. We will not talk about the pressure drop calculation in the vertical flow section yet. And are you ready for the exam? You prepare well, right? You have your cheat sheet ready? Do you know? Did you write every equation that you need for the slug flow pressure drop calculation and the calculation step? Viton, did you do that? You haven't? Siri, do you have every equation you need for pressure drop calculation for slug flow? You will do it today. Who have it? Maya, do you have it? Do you have every equation you need? Yes, in your formula sheet. Okay. So it is closed book. So what equation do you need? Do you know what equation you need to write on? Anders, if you want to calculate pressure drop, do you know what page number to open in your book? It is closed book, but to write a formula in the formula sheet, you need to know which page number. You know which page number that tell you about the calculation step? Under something, yes. Yes. Yeah, it's everything before that we talked about it last time. Friday we covered this, right? We cover this, except comprehensive model that we haven't talked about. We have gone through the textbook together, the page number, calculation step 1, step 2, step 3. You remember that? No? Open the video then, open the video on YouTube and find out what we are talking about on last Wednesday. So there's a causal relationship. So we need equation for VTB, right? Vega, what else? VTB and then what? Causal relationship, there are two more. HRLS, what else? Vega. One more. Yes. Slug length.
Oh yeah.
Slug length. Okay, so you will have to write those three equations. If you don't want slug length, you can use slug frequency. Okay, so the calculation step is, we have gone through it already. Read it again, it is in the book. And you should not have any question about it, should you? Okay.
The question is, are you going to include anything that is in already had exam for exam 1? You know, it's not going to.
I don't tell you. I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. Read chapter 3. What is in chapter 3? Stratified flow. It's not many pages. Mainly we focus on slug flow. We focus more on slug flow. Stratified flow, it is just a part of the slug flow. In the stratified region, slug flow has a stratified region, right? It has stratified region. Yes.
For the field section, define scenario. When the fluid reaches, or when your fluid height is equal from what's your velocity at that point? Is it 0 or?
At equilibrium film height.
Yes. What is the velocity?
The question is, at the equilibrium film height, what is the velocity? It's dependent upon whether it is horizontal flow, inclined flow. Okay. For horizontal flow at equilibrium film height, the velocity is 0, right? Okay.
Slightly inclined, between 0 and 5.
For incline, we have to use theta by d.
Can you repeat what you said? You said for
horizontal flow at the equilibrium film height, velocity is 0.
You have to be 0.
Is it?
Yeah, it's not very soon. Is it formula?
It's not 0?
So you put the lumen at 0, so the
Ah,
tau is going to be 0,
Come
so
on.
the friction is going to be 0. So
it's dependent upon which model you use. Okay, for horizontal flow, we can use Doppler Hubbard. For Doppler Hubbard, the ODE we have is, that's my ODE. ODE for Doppler Hubbard. You still remember that? ODE for Doppler Hubbard. We should not have any question about this, Raymond, especially you. Especially you.
I think for inclined flow, it's 0 at the equilibrium.
So we have this term, right? Look at that. For horizontal flow, we don't need to use, we don't have that term. So we have tau f. Tau f is 0 when velocity is 0. Okay? This is for double Hubbard. For incline, we cannot use this. For incline, we have to use Taitobani. For Taitobani, at the equilibrium, I think it can flow backward. It can, okay. It can flow backward. To know whether it is backward or not, it depends on what angle that we incline. You do calculation and you tell me. Have you ever used the Taitobani equation, this long equation? Did you try it?
Yeah.
Set the top one to be 0. Do you get anything or you don't get anything?
We cancel.
Can't solve. Cannot be solved.
You need to use that.
So set the top part to be 0. Can you solve it? Can you plot the value? The top part is dependent upon height, right? Can you set height be various value and find what height that make it equal to 0? Did you try, Raymond? I don't worry about any other student, okay? You're doing good, but Raymond, you are doing research about this. It better be correct. Okay? No more review.
Second question.
Did you read the book?
Yes, we did.
No. Anders, did you read the book? You chapter 3? All of it. Yune, did you read chapter 3? Okay. Very good. Did you read the book? Chapter 3. I should fail you, right? You don't read the book. Okay, Raymond. Next question.
We had a disagreement about it.
Integration.
Yeah, about integration. We do it.
I don't have disagreement or anything about integration. My solution, did you check it?
But
This is
This
this is not my solution. This is
This is a different scenario.
oh, but it's not what there. I will answer your question about the class.
It's not for only me, it's for everyone.
Really? I would like to skip this for now. Even if it is for everybody. It is the calculus that we reviewed already.
Yeah.
Yeah. Freshman. Right? First year that you do it. That if you have calculus problem, come see me in my office. We will go through it. Can we have any kind of that calculus in the exam? I don't recall that I put any. I don't think so. But you should know it already. We have quiz, right? And we talk about it like 34 minutes about that. Should be able to do it already. The switching the integration order.
How many questions will be in that?
Oh, very boring. Did I post the first page of the exam
Yes.
on the blackboard? Did you read it, Arya? No? Okay, that's your choice.
It didn't give a lot of information because you just said.
I don't give any more information about the exam to anyone at all, ever. Okay? Because it is an exam. Exam is it's not homework. Okay? Exam is an exam. And you will be just fine. If you read chapter 3, read chapter 3. It's not many pages. Write every equation that you need for calculation of slug flow pressure drop. You can bring the old one and you can have 2 more for the new one, so totally 4. Let's do flow pattern prediction. You know, we spent 10 more minutes about asking questions which should not happen if you read a book. Did you read a book? Really read a book? And do anything with a book? Please.
Question we asked you.
Homework 7.
Homework 7, you need homework 7? You will have.
Question we asked you is when.
It's not in the book.
Okay, so shouldn't it? Just tell me that we're going to change something.
You did not try. I tried it. Okay, Raymond, let me ask you this. Do we typically reach the equilibrium height for inclined flow? We don't, right? We don't. So if we use equilibrium height, it's just an approximation. Is there any other way to approximate the height liquid hold up in the film region? So how do I estimate? What do I need to estimate the hold up in the film region? Do you need slug length? Because slug length is about 30 diameter, right? How do I get film length? Oh, okay. So, Maya, do you know how to get VTB? Did you write that equation for VTB in your formula sheet? You need that, right? You know that, right? Okay, VTB. So if you know VTB, and there's a closure relationship for VTB equal to C0 Vm plus 0.54 square root GD, something. Okay, after we get VTB, what do we do next? Come on. So with VTB and slug frequency, we have closure relationship for slug frequency, right? For slug frequency, we can get the slug period. Slug period with VTB, we can get LU and LS, we can get LF, right? Film length. Okay, and we can estimate the HRLS, use equilibrium, closure relationship to get hold up in the slug body. Can we? Modia, can we get the liquid hold up in the slug body? Yes, okay. Once we know liquid hold up in the slug body, we know VTB. Can we estimate the liquid hold up in the film region yet? WL formula, so we need WL, okay, and we assume it's flat. Then we can estimate the hold up in the film region, right? Okay, let's do this one. You will be fine. Hopefully. Okay. Vertical flow. For vertical flow, we have bubble flow. This region, bubble flow. Okay, bubble flow, and we have slug flow region, and churn flow. Have you seen churn flow before? Yes? Who haven't seen churn flow? All of you should have seen churn flow. Akin, can you describe churn flow?
It happens when you are in vertical flow and it's like Brownian was very chaotic.
Brownian? It's not chaotic. Okay, chaotic system. Okay. This bubble flow. I don't think we can get this bubble flow, but it's small bubble fully dispersed in the liquid phase. Okay, solid line is from experiment, dashed line is from model. It's matched, pretty much. Okay. Now, what we are going to do is find out how do we get this dashed line? Okay, this dashed line. How do I get any of that? Good. Okay, the first one we will talk about transition E. Bubble to slug transition. Bubble to slug transition E. This line, right? Bubble to slug. We will try to find out how do we get that line. Okay. Right from Titanic Albany, Titanic 1980, at low gas flow rate, bubble won't collide each other. Okay. For gas flow rate, when gas flow rate increase, bubble can collide each other and coalesce, become bigger. Okay. And we have some results showing that if the void fraction greater than 0.2, the collision frequency increase exponentially, increase very high, very quick. Okay, so alpha is void fraction. If it's too much, it collide a lot. Bubble collide a lot. In this model, we consider several kind of packing. Okay, packing density. If we assume a spherical shape, okay, simple cubic, we can pack and we have some space left. Okay, we have some space left. And this space, in your book, it says alpha is about 0.52. Alpha is about 0.52 for simple cubic. For different kind of packing, we have different kind of ratio for the void fraction. Okay. In this model, model, they assume that. So when we have this gap is about half of the radius. We have void fraction about 0.25. Okay. If we have void fraction more than this, gas tend to collide and coalesce. Okay. So assumption, if the distance between the bubble is half of the radius, if it's a little bit more, the bubble coalescence increase sharply. So when bubble coalescence happen, we don't have small bubble, right? We form Taylor bubble. Okay. So the assumption is that if void fraction greater than 0.25, we move from bubble to slug. Okay, 0.25. So next we will find out how do we get the equation. How do we relate void fraction with the operating parameter that we have. Okay, to relate anything, we know that slip velocity, V slip is Vg minus VL. Okay, that's a slip velocity. This slip velocity for vertical flow, we call it bubble rise velocity or V0 into infinity. It is the terminal velocity for a single bubble, okay, in an infinite stagnant liquid medium. So for low liquid flow rate, we have this formula, okay, slip equal Vg minus VL. And substitute alpha in, Vg is Vsg over alpha, VL is Vsl over 1 minus alpha, okay. Rearrange it, we get this equation. So if we know VSL, we know VSG, and we know V slip, then we can calculate alpha, right? Okay. Or if we set alpha equal to 0.25 or something, we can calculate other parameter. Alright. The bubble rise velocity from experiment, we have this form. Hamadi 1960. V0 infinity equal to 1.35 G and delta rho sigma over rho square, everything to the 0.25. Okay. Arya, what is sigma? Okay, what is the unit? We should use SI unit, okay? Newton per meter, okay. How much is that for water? Google it, right? 0.070, 0.072 or something. For oil, it can be about 0.03, 0.02, 0.03 or something. Okay. So if you don't have any gas and you guess this value, sigma to be 20 or something, wrong, completely wrong. Okay. Use 0.05, 0.03, 0.02 something will give you a better value. Okay. This gives slip velocity. Okay. Let's take a look at slip velocity. This bubble rise velocity, it is a function of the size. Okay. For small size, the bubble rise velocity is not much. It doesn't rise fast. If the size greater than a certain size, V0 infinity or bubble rise velocity become kind of constant. Okay. That certain size is the critical diameter. Okay. And for air water system is about 0.3 centimeter. Okay. So this equation is valid for this range, okay, when bubble is greater than a certain size. If it is smaller than some size, then this equation is not valid. Good? Okay. Yes?
Which relationship describes?
This part?
Yeah.
Don't have it. I don't have it. Okay, but we have the relationship that describes this part. Okay, and it is this formula. Okay, for transition E, what calculate or did is substitute alpha equal to 0.25. Substitute alpha equal to 0.25 into this equation. This is our slip equation, right? And substitute V0 infinity that much in. Okay, in this part. Do some math, we get that. Okay. So we have the relationship between VSL and VSG. So this is the governing equation for transition E. And if you go back, you can see that if VSG greater than some value, we move from bubble flow to slab flow. Okay. If we are over here and we have some decrease in VSL, we may go into slab flow. But if we are over here, we have some decrease in VSL, we may just stay in bubble flow. Okay. So the equation that I show you is that line. Okay. That's the equation that we have. At low VSL, the transition VSG is mainly controlled by bubble rise velocity. Okay, and we have kind of straight line, which is this part of the graph, kind of straight line. Of course, this line, the shape of the line will depend upon the fluid property. Alright, you like this one? We are done for transition E. Congratulations, Magino. Yes.
So in the artificial lift, it's outflow performance curve. So there is a region that you should reach critical velocity for your gas bubble to lift your liquid up. So here in that flow pattern map, do we see it and do we have it?
I haven't seen anything like that. It just tells you the flow pattern.
Because if you remember the outflow performance curve, it's like this. Okay? So before it goes up, the tangent point, so there is a region that goes down. It means that whenever you drop the pressure, you increase the velocity.
This part, we don't talk about the pressure drop yet. We talk just about flow pattern. The pressure drop, we will calculate it later.
Because if you don't reach to that critical velocity of gas, you're not going to even have even flow in your vertical section. So that's what I'm saying. Do we have it
Do
here.
we have it here? No, we haven't talked anything about that here. We just talk about transition, flow transition. So what we're talking about is IPR curve, flow performance,
BPL.
Go for TPR.
TPR curve.
So what you are pointing out is drag force needs to be greater than static force greater than fluid.
So probably from one point of VSG, you should have the flow pattern. Before that, even you're not going to have.
We have that afterwards. First, the step is first we know the flow pattern. After we know the flow pattern, then we can calculate pressure drop. And we can also calculate liquid hold up. We can calculate do we produce or we don't produce. The first step is to get flow pattern. So do we have any of that here? No, we don't. We can have it later. Good. Now you have this line. Okay. Next line will be about okay. Sometimes that line doesn't exist. We may or may not have this line. You believe it? Some pipe diameter we have that line. Some pipe diameter we don't have that line. Let's take a look at the result first. The result look like this. Okay, this one is 2-inch ID. This one is 1-inch ID. Akin, which one has bubble flow? 2-inch or 1-inch?
One on the left.
2-inch or 1-inch?
2 inches.
2-inch. Okay. So this one we have B. This one we don't have. Okay. You like this? You don't?
So the same happen with the flow.
This is for vertical.
I'm asking just this scenario where one flow pattern.
In the horizontal flow, we don't have that to begin with. Okay, so the question here is, why is that? Sometimes we have bubble flow, sometimes we don't. Sometimes this line is there, sometimes we don't have the transition line. But Maya, what do you think is that? Did you read the book?
Yes.
Yes. Diameter, yes, because of the diameter. Okay. So what we have here is this. Bubble rise velocity, the formula is this one, right? The bubble rise velocity is not a function of diameter. Okay. But when we look at translational velocity or drift velocity, when we have no flow, Vm equal to 0 and we just have bubble going up. The velocity of the bubble is equal to drift velocity, 0.35 GD, square root GD. So drift velocity or bubble velocity, once it forms, is dependent upon diameter size. If we have big pipe and we have slack flow, VTB or translational velocity will be high, right? D go up, VTB go up. Good. In small pipe, VTB will be small. So sometimes we can have, if the pipe is very small, V0 infinity can be greater than VTB. If the pipe is very big, VTB will be greater than V0 infinity. Okay, now let's take a look. What is VTB? VTB is the interface velocity for the Taylor bubble, right? Interface velocity for the Taylor bubble. So if we form one bubble, okay, we put one bubble in here. If VTB is greater than V0 infinity, this means if we form a Taylor bubble, let's say if we form a Taylor bubble will be gone and won't block the pipe. If VTB is small, Taylor bubble will block the pipe because it moves slower than the bubble rise velocity. Any small bubble that form here have the speed of bubble rise velocity, it will coalesce with the Taylor bubble and make the Taylor bubble become longer. Okay, so Taylor et al. Model this as when the VTB greater than V0 infinity, we can have transition E. If VTB is less, we don't have transition E. Okay. For small pipe, small catheter bubble, the flow slowly can block the flow path. Okay. Bubble coalesce with the bubble cap. Okay. So the criteria to find out whether we have transition E or not is by comparing this velocity and that velocity together. If VTB is higher, then we can have transition E. If VTB is lower, we don't have bubble flow. Good?
What would be a definition for smaller dash meter?
We compare the velocity. You see this one? VTB, this is the criterion for bubble region existence. To have bubble region, VTB or V drift has to be more than V0 infinity. So if we form a bubble cap will be just gone, doesn't block the pipe. Okay, so VD greater than V0 infinity, do some substitution, do some math, we get that form. Okay, so the first step is to check if the left hand side is greater than the right hand side or not. And this is in your book already. So basically it's come from that. So when left hand side is greater than right hand side, then we can have transition E. So step 1, check if we can have transition E or not. So check left hand side and right hand side. Notice that this is just dependent upon fluid property and diameter. Doesn't depend on any velocity or anything, so we can calculate right up front. Okay. After check the bubble region existence, then we can find out, okay, how much is, where is the boundary? Use this equation for boundary E. And how do you know how to use any of these formula? You actually have to do something with it, do some calculation, okay, practice, and then you will be able to find, okay, if I know VSL, I know all this, can I calculate VSG, that is smallest VSG that give you the transition this line? You can, right? You can. So if we set VSL, we set the fluid property, we can find out what is the maximum VSG that we still have bubble flow. Okay, use that equation. Very straightforward. Okay, transition E is done. So at least for now, okay, let me do this. So tell me, Tope, what's the flow pattern for this one? The top one.
This first bubble.
This bubble? What's the Tolani? What is the flow pattern for this one?
This.
Yes, that one? Okay.
That one. This median.
White triangle. What is that flow pattern?
Fine.
Yes? Angular flow. Okay, correct. Okay. Danny, what is the flow pattern for this region?
Strong.
Churn flow. Good.
You didn't go right. You had it.
Oh, okay. still have this one. So by now, when you see the flow pattern map for vertical flow, you should be able to tell what location is what flow pattern. When you see the boundary, let's say if I give you that boundary, you should be able to tell. Okay?
So this should be any close me?
What?
Should be the exam.
This chapter.
Not this is not in the exam yet. Should be in the next exam. So in addition to that, when you see this kind of flow pattern map, you should know that it is not horizontal flow. Okay? Very likely vertical flow. Okay? Let's do next transition. This line. Okay? This transition. Transition to this bubble flow. Okay, for transition to this bubble flow, step 1, we quantify the maximum stable diameter of the dispersed phase. Okay, if it is larger than this, it is not stable. So we have formula from 1955. This, it doesn't have E. Okay. So we have the max equal to K sigma over rho to power of 0.6. And we have epsilon here is not roughness, it is the rate of energy dissipation calculated from turbulent flow model. Okay, that formula. So if we have diameter that is bigger than D max, it is not going to be stable. Okay. So pressure gradient we calculate from frictional pressure loss. Okay. Yes.
So even if you do transition E,
Okay.
which tells you whether you are moving from bubble to slug or slug to bubble, which tells you which year. That means you can still move to the next transition even if you're in E now. Because this line from E you can move to disposable bar, from slug you can also move. That's what it seems like on the
Okay. What's the calculation step, right? Do we have to do it in order? What do we do after transition E? Do we have to check this transition next? We haven't talked about that yet. We've talked about it. But first, I want you to know how to calculate each transition boundary first. Okay. So for next transition, I think it's transition F. Is it transition F? Yes, transition F.
Are we gonna be the point about transition to this vertical movie?
This one we are talking about. We are not done. So to calculate transition F, transition to this bubble, either from slab or bubble, if we have to have a stable size bubble, D max has to be less than D max. And calculation of D max is this equation. Okay. So friction factor can be estimated from this C equal to 0.046, N equal to 0.2. K value in D max equation was modified by Bani et al. 1985 to be K equal to some constant plus another constant and square root alpha. Alpha is a word fraction. Okay. So we have D max equal to some expression. This is equation 4.20. You see this epsilon. Okay. So epsilon, when we have epsilon here, it's not quite final form yet. Okay. Let's go back a little bit. Now we know V max, right? Okay.
Let's show how to use this approach.
Oh yes. So now we know V max. So we stop there for a while. D max, maximum stable droplet size for this bubble flow to happen. Hinsey 1955. This is maximum stable diameter for dispersed phase. Maximum diameter, stable diameter for the dispersed phase. I put here that for bubble size smaller than the critical, the bubble has spherical shape. Okay. Bubble size larger than the critical, the bubble start to deform, coalesce, collide, coalesce. Okay. this critical size. So if we stay here, it doesn't collide much, it doesn't coalesce much. Greater than a certain point, it becomes bigger and bigger. Okay. Now, let's take a look at that reason. What do they do to get transition F? So they said if the turbulent forces are high enough to break the bubble to a smaller than the critical diameter. So if we have high enough turbulent force, the coalescence rate is hindered and Taylor bubble will not form. Okay. So if we flow quick enough, the bubble will break and we cannot form Taylor bubble. Okay. And therefore they put the reason here that so that if D max less than DCD or critical bubble diameter, then we have dispersed bubble flow. Good. So if D max less than critical diameter, we have dispersed bubble flow. But he suggests critical bubble diameter to be this formula. DCD equal to 2 multiplied by 0.4 sigma delta rho G. So this diameter can be calculated based on the fluid property. Is this dependent upon viscosity? Did I miss anything in this formula? Can you check the book? So which page that you have 4.21?
Page
142. Okay. Did I miss anything? Or it say just that? It is just that, right? So it will depend on how do we get this formula. Is this formula? So this is a critical bubble diameter above which we have a loss of coalescence, right? So above this critical diameter, we stay in that region and it's like coalesce very quick. Okay. Raymond, do you think viscosity will do anything with this size, critical diameter? Okay. And it doesn't seem like we have formula. Wait, you tell me, okay? But actually you cannot, because whenever you flow, it will disperse and it will trap. Okay, so this formula is not dependent upon viscosity. And we have the combined form, okay? Previously we know D max is that expression, okay? And we know epsilon is dPdL multiplied by V over rho, and dPdL is that. Put everything together and use D max smaller than DCD. Use that transition criteria. Okay, so we have 1.4 square root alpha. We have this one, right? And DCD, that formula, put everything together, rearrange it, and finally we get this equation. Okay, this is criterion for D max less than DCD. So if left hand side is smaller than right hand side, we have this bubble flow. So if we take a look at it, to have this bubble flow, you remember, right, we should increase liquid flow rate. So if we have high enough turbulent force, it will break the diameter to be smaller than the critical diameter. Okay, so if we increase VSL, VSG stay the same, increase the VSL, so VM go up, right? This term go down, this term go up, and the rest doesn't depend upon VSL. So when we increase VSL, enough VSL, superficial liquid velocity will make left hand side to be smaller than right hand side. Good? Okay. Let me check that.